Welcome to Capital Budget System Training for State Agency users. We will first review the capital budget process and timeline, and then we will demonstrate how to use the capital budget system. The purpose of the capital budget system is to collect and publish capital budget requests and recommendations for consideration by the legislature. The capital budget system will support all aspects of capital budget development, including the governor's decision-making process, tracking legislative positions, and will be able to publish enacted capital budget information. The report of your capital budget requests that will be published on July 15th and submitted to the legislature will be available in CBS in June. This is an overview of the capital budget system project. The capital budget process has already begun. Capital budget instructions have been released. On May 4th, the capital budget system will go live. All users, including local users, will be able to enter their requests into the capital budget system starting on this date. By June 12th, all preliminary requests are due in the capital budget system. All requests must come through this system. Preliminary requests will be submitted to the legislature on July 15th. MMB will be conducting site visits and meetings and gathering information beginning in June, going all the way through September. Capital budget system will be open for final request submission between August and October. On October 16th, the final requests are due to be submitted in the capital budget system. On January 15th, 2016, the Governor will release the bonding proposal to the legislature. Capital budget instructions for agency users are found on the MMB website underneath the heading labeled 2016 Capital Budget Preparation Special Instructions for State Agencies. They can be found by going to this link, www.mn.gov/mb/budget/budget-instructions/capital budget 2014 SESS. And as you can see, instructions are found under the Special Instructions for State Agencies link. We will provide a more detailed look at the capital budget system and how to use the capital budget system later in this training. The capital budget system is a web-based tool that is accessed through the statewide systems administrative portal. In order to navigate through the capital budget system, you will save and continue through the 7 steps of submitting a request. There are a variety of ways that users are able to navigate through the different screens required for submitting a request. Users are going to be able to save and continue through the 7 steps to submitting a request, use a navigation on the left side of the screen, or use breadcrumbs across the top of the screens. Be sure to save often as the system times out after 20 minutes of inactivity. There is a Save button located at the top of the screen and at the bottom of the screen to save and move on to a different screen. There are 3 different submission statuses. There's the draft status, the preliminary status, and the final status. In the draft status, users may edit and view their request. When a user is satisfied with their request and selects Submit, the capital budget request will then be in preliminary status. This is due by June 12th. After MMB completes the review, the final capital budget requests are due to be submitted on October 16th. All deadlines are in anticipation of publication on July 15th and on January 15th. Any system questions or issues should be directed to the Swift Help Desk at 651-201-8100, option number 2. If you have any capital budget policy questions, contact Alicia Cowell, the Capital Budget Coordinator, at 651-259-3782, or you can send her an email at alicia.cowell@state.mn.us. We will now demonstrate how to submit a request. The capital budget system is accessed through the administrative portal. If users do not have a direct link to the administrative portal, you may navigate by going to www.mn.gov/mmb, clicking on Budget, going down to Statewide Budget Systems, and clicking on Capital Budget. At the very bottom of this page, there is a link to the administrative portal. Use your 8-digit state employee ID and the password that you use for SWIFT or Semaphore in order to sign in to the administrative portal. From here, select the Capital Budget Systems link. This link brings you directly to the home page of the Capital Budget System. Any announcements during the Capital Budget System process will be posted here on the home page under the Announcements heading. Please pay attention to this section. Users can use the left-hand navigation menu in order to navigate to any step within the capital budget request process or to copy a previous request. We are going to walk through creating a request from the very beginning. Users can click on Capital Budget Request Steps to be brought to the Capital Budget Request Steps page. This page provides a brief overview and description of each of the steps within the capital budget request process. Each numbered heading provides a brief overview of each of the screens that the users will navigate through to create a request. Starting with the Create a Request screen, users will enter a new capital budget request, select the request year, enter a project name in the new project name field, and create their new request. All created requests for a selected fiscal year will display in the List of Requests box on this screen. On the Project Overview screen, users add all of the narrative information on a capital budget request. This may include project descriptions, rationale, and construction dates. On the Funding Sources screen, users will add all funding sources committed, pending, and requested for their specific capital budget request. Funding sources include agency operating budgets, federal funds, local government funds, or private funds. Users will complete the Project Cost Directions form before completing the Project Cost screen. The completion of this form and the answer to the questions on this form will dictate whether or not the user is brought to the Detailed Project Cost form or the Summary Level Project Cost form. On the Statutory Requirements screen, users will respond to 12 questions regarding the statutory requirements that must be met for capital bonding projects. Users must answer each of these questions on this screen before continuing with their request. Each agency must upload an agency profile and strategic plan document. Other documents are optional. The documents that you upload for one request will display for every request entered. Finally, users will be brought to the Preview and Submit Request screen, on which users are able to review all data entered for a request. After all of the data is determined to be accurate, users may click Submit Request to formally submit their preliminary and final capital budget requests. We are going to first start with the Create a Request screen. Users can navigate to the screen by either selecting the hyperlink on this page, scrolling to the top and selecting Create a Request in the breadcrumbs across the top, or selecting Create a Request from the left-hand navigation. This is the Create a Request screen. From this screen, you are able to view all requests that have been entered. Depending on the request submission status, you are also able to edit or delete a request. All requests on this screen are in draft status. Requests that are in draft or preliminary status may be edited or deleted. Once a request is in final submission status, it may not be edited or deleted. On this, select the request year from the drop-down menu, and in the entity field, your state agency should automatically be populated. As you can see, there is a list of current requests within the 2016 request year. On this screen, you are able to view, edit, or delete any of these requests at any time. In order to create a new capital budget request, simply type in the request name in the new project name field, and select Create New Request. This automatically brings you to the Project Overview screen. On the Project Overview screen, users will enter details about your capital project request. The entity and project name default from the Create a Request screen. If you need to change the project name, you may do so from the Edit Project Name link. Select Save once your changes have been made. Select a project rank dropdown. Each project must be assigned a rank based on the agency's priority order as required by Statute 16A-11, Subdivision 3A. If this is a request from a state agency that has multiple campuses or facilities, select the applicable campus or facility here. If the request has statewide impact or affects multiple facilities, users may skip this field and note the campuses or the statewide nature in the narrative. Select your city from the drop-down menu and the county will automatically populate. If your facility is in a city that is in multiple counties and the correct county does not automatically populate, simply click on the County drop-down menu, search for your appropriate county, and select this county. The zip code, contact name, contact title, contact phone number, and contact email address are all simple text fields. Select the project category using the drop-down menu. Asset preservation is defined in Statute 16B-307. If asset preservation is selected for this request, you must also upload a spreadsheet list of all projects included in the request on the Upload Document screen. Please reference the Capital Budget website for more information and to locate a spreadsheet. The use of funds to acquire land, easements, options, or land with buildings or other improvements is indicated by the Land Acquisition Project category. Please note that the purchase of options, while they may be correctly included on the project cost form, are not a bondable expense and must be paid for from general fund cash. The Major Construction Project category is defined in Statute 16B-335, Subdivision 1. Use the Multiple Categories Project category if this project request fits in more than one category. Use the Renovation and Renewal Project category for projects that are not just preserving existing assets, but are renovating and renewing facilities for a different use or purpose as well. State programs that are appropriated GO bonds that are then granted out to local units of government for capital investment projects should use the State Program Project Category indicator. Use the Other Project Category indicator if none of these categories describe your project. Please reference your agency user manual in order to determine whether or not this request is for a state program or is a project-specific request. Save your request early and often. There's a Save button located at the top right-hand corner of this screen. In the short description field, summarize the request in 2 sentences. In any of the text fields, users may copy and paste information from one document into the capital budget system. For example, I'm going to bring up my Word document, and I'm going to highlight and copy the text that I wish to paste in the short description field. This can be accomplished by either highlighting and right-clicking, copy and paste, as was just demonstrated, or by pressing Ctrl-C in order to copy your text and Ctrl-V in order to paste your text. The project rationale, project narrative, and other considerations fields are all rich text fields. In the project rationale field, please describe why the project is needed and justify this capital budget request. Again, you may highlight, press Ctrl-C and Ctrl-V to paste your text into the capital budget system request. In this text editor, users may edit text in a variety of different ways. Users have the option to bold, italicize, and underline their text, as well as number or bullet point. Users can also click on the Clean HTML button in the right-hand corner of the rich text editor. This will remove any extraneous XML code characters from the text that you have pasted into the text box. In the project narrative field, describe the project in detail. Please include scope, total cost, key funding sources, and any other information. Again, I'm going to demonstrate highlighting your text from Word document, pressing copy, and right-clicking to paste the text into the system. In the Other Considerations text field, please add any additional information that decision makers should know about this project. Highlight, copy, right-click, and paste the text into the capital budget system. State agencies do not need to answer who will own the facility or who will operate the facility. In the description of private entity occupancy and use, please describe who will be using the facility and if the facility will be leased. State agencies do not need to complete the public purpose text field. In the Impact on Operating Budgets field, please describe the impact that this request may have on the operating budget. Required under Statute 16A-11, Subdivision 5, summarize the project's impact on the agency's operating budget over the upcoming 6-year period. Again, you can copy and paste your text into this text field. Please include an anticipated encumbrance date, and for any construction projects, an anticipated midpoint of construction date. In addition, include an anticipated end date. If your project is phased, please note the phase of this request. In the description of previous appropriations field, enter the year, amount, and purpose of any previous appropriations related to this request. This is another text field in which users can copy and paste text into this field and edit text as they wish. In the statutory program citation field, enter the legal citation if you are requesting funds for a program established in statute. Leave this field blank if it does not apply to your request. Using the Bondable Activity drop-down list, select a bondable activity. Asset preservation is defined in Statute 16B-307. If asset preservation is selected for this request, you must also load the spreadsheet list of all projects included in the request on the Upload Document screen. The spreadsheet can be found in the Agency User Systems Manual. Bondable activity for construction is defined in Statute 16B-335, Subdivision 1. The use of funds to acquire land, easements, options, or land with buildings or other improvements is indicated by the land acquisition bondable activity. Use the multiple bondable activities indicator if the request fits into more than one of these bondable activities. Use the other indicator if your request is not covered by these categories listed. Pre-design is the stage in the development of a project during which the purpose, scope, cost, and schedule of completed project are defined. Design is the stage in the development of a project during which schematic, design development, and contract documents are produced. The renovation or major repair bondable activity is defined in Statute 16B-335, Subdivision 1. State programs that are appropriated GO bonds that are then granted out to local units of government for capital investment projects are indicated by the State Program Bondable Activity. Select the project type that describes your request using the Project Type drop-down list. If the request fits more than one type, select Multiple. If the project type is not listed, select Other. Select the policy area that has jurisdiction over your agency. If an independent assessment has been conducted on your facility, such as Facility Condition Assessment through the Department of Administration, and a Facility Condition Index has been assigned, please select this from the drop-down menu. State agencies do not select a preferred granting state agency and should leave this drop-down menu blank. When you have completed the project overview screen, users have two options. You may save and exit and return to your request at a later date, or you may select Save and Continue to save your information and continue on to the next screen. This will take you to the funding sources page. Prior year funds shown in this section are for funds that have been requested and appropriated. If you would like to enter prior year request amounts, you can do so in the Request Amount grid. If you have received prior year appropriations for this project, they can be added to the prior years in the funds already committed to the project grid. For this example, we are going to assume that this is a new request and select Hide Prior Years. Users will enter the amount in thousands requested each year for GO bonds as well as other state sources. The request amount entered here will be displayed on the preliminary request report published on July 15th as well as in the January 15th final publication. In order to enter your information, select Edit and enter the amount of your request for each year in thousands. Click Save when you have completed all of your information. In order to request from a source other than GO bonds, select Add Row. This will bring up another line on the request amount table. From here, click on the drop-down menu and select the appropriate source from which you are requesting funds. Again, your dollar amount is entered in thousands, and select Save when you have completed your changes. Your total request amount will automatically populate as well. Add all funds for prior and future years that are already committed to this project in the same manner. Click on Add a Row and enter your amount in thousands and select Save. The total funds currently committed field will automatically calculate. Enter any funds that have not yet been committed to the project on the Funds Pending table. Click Add a Row, select your source, and enter the amount in thousands again. Click Save when you have finished making changes. The total funds pending, total funding sources related to the request, and matching funds percentage will automatically calculate. Users have the option of entering comments on prior year funding, the funding request, or adding any additional comments on sources of funds in these three sections. These are all text fields. Once you have completed entering your information on the funding sources page, you may select Save and Exit, Save and Previous, or Save and Continue. After you save on the funding sources screen, you will have entered all of the data that is required for the June 12th deadline. You may select Save and Continue on to complete the project costs, statutory requirements, and upload document screens. This information is not due until this fall with the final submission. For now, I will demonstrate how to submit your preliminary information. You must submit your request to signal to MMB that your preliminary information is complete and ready to be included in the July 15th publication. Navigate to the Preview and Submit screen. Users are able to access this screen by either scrolling to the very top and selecting Preview and Submit from the breadcrumb menu, or selecting Preview and Submit Request from the left-hand navigation. Preview and Submit Request screen. This screen will display all of the information that you have entered in the capital budget system regarding this request. Data is displayed in sections, one for each of the data entry screens. You can navigate forward or back from one section to another by using buttons displayed in the right-hand margin of the screen. Click on the blue arrows next to each section's title to hide or display its content. The Edit button is displayed while a request is in draft or preliminary status. Clicking on it opens the data entry screen for the selected section, allowing you to edit and save changes. This information also includes questions from the project cost form, statutory requirements form and the Upload Documents section. Once you have reviewed your information and have confirmed that this is the correct information you would like to submit, click on the Submit Request button. You will be prompted with a question that asks if you would like to submit or sign off on this request. Click OK, and you will be brought back to the Create a Request screen. On this screen, we can now see that test request number 2, the request that we have been working on, is in preliminary submitted status. After June 12th, MMB will close the capital budget system to prepare the preliminary capital budget documents for submission to the legislature on July 15th. After this, the system will be reopened so that agencies may revise and complete final requests, which will be due on October 16th.